Darlings, how are you, my loves? How are you doing? I have actually just been filming for YouTube, so we've got some cool videos coming. For those of you who don't know, for the month of March, I am doing the Church Girl series. So many things that I felt really powerfully to do for this year. I don't really like doing them per se because they're not great for the channel, because it's sort of isolating for some people, isn't it? It's like you know, other people feel like they don't belong, and I've always created a Black Swan for everybody. So, but it was really necessary, and I've enjoyed creating them. So today, what are we talking about? I am happy to take your questions, fire away. But while we do that, we're going to talk about something that I've been discussing with you on a lot of my posts, but I really wanted... Hi, good afternoon, Virgo Queen. How are you? Welcome, everybody. It's always good to see you. I know I like to come on more in the evenings because, most people are kind of free, but I know it's... you got to take me when you can get me, people. You know how it is, because schedules. Those of you who have not downloaded the app, make sure you do, because once the live feature is up and running, we will be having daily lives within the Black Swan app. But today we're going to talk about, I'm going to put it in the comments, real options versus fake options. And of course, I know you all are very tempted to just let me talk it out, but I do want to answer some of your questions while I'm here, okay? So, real options versus fake options. Water. You know, when we live in a world where attention is something that it's pretty much the 21st century addiction. You know, attention, who sees us, who responds to us, who likes, who comes on live, who, you know, and none of us are kind of immune, because in the most recent years, attention is the most expensive commodity. Whoever gets the attention also gets the money. You know, there was a time when impact, really determined your income. You know, as the way you were able to solve problems, the more powerfully you were able to solve problems was all that was required. All you had to have was impact, and your income would be equivalent. But obviously now we live in a world where attention is what gives you value. You know, even as I deal with press, you know, there was a time when just being the person who's the expert in that field was enough. But now it's kind of not enough for you to be the expert. You also have to have a following. You know, we have to discuss how many people you can bring. Publishing companies, a lot of deals are now done based on how much attention an individual can bring. And it's really changed the way that we do life. So we cannot underestimate the value and the importance of how that also affects the relationship world, and how it has affected the relationship world, how it has impacted the relationship world, because we as women get way more attention than we would have ordinarily. Not in a non-digital world, we wouldn't. You would probably get the odd... Well, it depends on where you're watching this from. If you're from the developing nations, Jamaica, Africa, Caribbean, Africa, then you're going to get a lot of attention. You know, I was in Jamaica recently, and I came off, from the moment you get out of the plane, somebody wants to talk to you. Somebody wants to get to know you. That's a phrase they use. Can I get to know you? That's so sweet. For me, I enjoy all of these things because it's all learning and education. I'm going to be going to Chengi's World, my other Instagram, to talk about at some point, or on YouTube with the coaches. We're going to go live on Tuesdays to sort of discuss current things, current trends. We'll do that on Tuesdays live together as a team. But one of the things we will be discussing is sexual tourism, etc. So quite a few exciting things coming up. But you go to the developing world and you get a lot of attention. You live in the Western world, and you can feel unseen. So now we crave attention more than we actually crave connection, right? And we want to, we put our value on how much attention we can get. I've got a lot of beautiful swans on here, and sometimes, whenever I get a follow and I happen to have time, I'll go and check out, because I like to understand the people that follow me, what they think, how they move, what they value. And I'm pleased to say that a good 80% of you are queens. You are beautiful and elegant and self-respecting. Your Instagram is beautiful to look at. It tells me who you are, assuming it's not a business Instagram. Probably not great for dating, by the way. I would love for all of you to get on the app and get, because I think I'm actually, this month of March, because of the kind of Instagrams I've been seeing, ladies, Instagram is one of the biggest dating apps, and some of our accounts are private and we're trying to date, and those that are not private don't really give an accurate estimation of your value. So this is something I want to help you with. So download the app, and perhaps we'll go on a live and talk about the kind of Instagram that will get you a ring. Okay, because meeting somebody on social media is like meeting somebody on the streets. Dating apps have their place, but Instagram is a great place to meet somebody or to be seen, and there's a whole strategy around that. So we can do that live on the app. I don't want to do that now, but back to this topic, attention. We prefer attention to connection. We genuinely have been changed in the way that we think, and we have developed neurological pathways within our brains in the last few years that have changed what we find attractive. Accordingly, men have adapted, because men adapt to women, which is why we set the bar for how men treat women, because men generally will adapt to what women want, no matter how loud they are out here on these streets, and we want this and we want that. When as a collective, women move a certain way, men will move in order to win with us, right? So we kind of jumped onto the attention bandwagon, and now we have become delusional about what is genuinely available to us. I've seen this reel kind of going around. I think it says something like, "This boy is in my DMs telling me I'm pretty." And I was like, I like to sort of watch everybody who sort of made those reels, and I'm thinking, girl, stop it. It's not that deep. Because we've bought into the attention, we've bought into the narrative. Boys in our DMs, telling us we're pretty. You have likes and whatever else in your DMs, and now you think, I'm that girl. I am that girl. The reality of it is, many of us don't have anybody sliding into our DMs. And when we do, they're the undesirables. But still, it's like this narrative that we've bought into, because at least somebody's going to like, at least we're going to go online and somebody's going to like our post, and we're going to put something pretty. And for the other 20% who are newbie black swans, who are going from duck status to white swan status, because black swan status takes a lot of doing, they are out here with their bottoms to the camera, half naked, selling that sexy. And that's another thing, because sexy for us in this generation has become almost necessary in the war for attention, right? Because who gets the most attention but the naked chick? The girl that's showing more flesh, the girl that's provocative, and I am making no judgment on that. I'm simply stating some facts. So in an attempt to get attention, and some of us hide behind our fitness, careers. I'm a fitness person, but why that angle? Why are you squatting into your phone or into your camera so that we can see your bottom? And, you know, and all of these things that we do. And really, we want attention. We don't really want to help people get fit. We just want attention. And because of that, what happens is, we get played because men know that many of us are attention whores. We're all about that attention life. So we get played. They give us attention, all the attention we could want. And when they get what they want, the attention stops, and then we've fallen in love. Do I want us to not want attention? Attention is important. Attention is a love need for the feminine. The feminine wants to be seen. She wants attention. This is a natural thing, but it has been exasperated and has become almost feral. And as a result, we're making some bad relationship decisions. What we're actually doing is rejecting a man that is genuinely interested in pursuing something real with us, because he doesn't compare to what we believe are options. You know, other options, you know. So this guy who doesn't seem to fit into the selection, he gets discarded because we have this idea that we have options when we actually don't. When actually what is being offered is sex and time wasting and attention. You know, that's really what's being offered here. And what I want to communicate to us as powerfully as I can in this moment is that if we're not careful, if we don't pay attention, if we don't take this very, very seriously, we are going to really create a situation, not only for ourselves, but the future generations, where 50% of women will die single. This is, you know, a stat I read somewhere, and it was like 50%. 50% in the next few years will be single, meaning unmarried. That's 2 people. 1 in every 2, one will get married and 1 won't. And I believe the statistics is a little bit higher when it comes to Black women. This is scary to me, and it's a state of emergency. So I'm one of these people who's like, why would that be? Why would that be? That it's not like men are diminishing in numbers. You know, we're not losing men to war. We're not losing men to war like other women have had to. They lost men to war. You know, we're not losing men to disease or sickness that is wiping them out. So where are we losing? I just want to bring it in a little bit more to the people on this live right now, this minute. 1 in every 2 of you, every other person on this live will die single if you don't already have a relationship. That is very scary to me, because that is an issue of posterity. That is an issue of, you know, single parent household children that will develop trauma as a result of not having both masculine and feminine in the home. That is, that's a lot of traumatized children. That is a lot of very stressed women. That is a lot of broken down men. This is a society that is scary, because until now society was built on the platform of family, right? And we created communities around family, and communities became society, and they, you know, created the foundation of the stability. We're already in a moral crisis, and because morality is taught within family context. So if every other woman on this call, every other woman is going to die alone. And I want to talk about dying alone. I'm going to come off track and I'm going to come back, because I think we have glamorized dying alone. And I remember working in a care home. I was an admin in a care home before, you know, I got to where I am. And I'm really grateful for that opportunity. I was also, I've kind of worked from children all the way to end of life. And if you've ever worked end of life, I wasn't, caring for the residents, but I would have to have interactions with them. And I love hearing stories, and I love the elderly. I feel I can learn so much from those who've done life, So I'm a learner, I am a philosopher, I am a thinker, I'm a student. I love learning, especially from people who've lived. So I would go into all the rooms, and whenever I had a chance, or on my way to getting a contract signed or whatever, and I would ask questions about their lives, and how they ended up here, because many of them were in care homes because they didn't have a husband or loved one, or maybe their partner had died. And I remember there were two residents in particular who never got visitors. They never got, anyone coming to visit them. And it used to break my heart, because it was just them alone in this room. And I remember asking the manager, what's the story? And anyway, no one could find their family. They had children, but nobody wanted to know. And eventually they died, and the family, we had to call an agency to find the family, because we had no next of kin. So this agency that finds, family and connections. And I remember one of them saying, is she dead yet? And, you see a lot of stuff in end of life. And when I hear women say, I'd rather die alone than be with so-and-so, I'd rather die alone. I'm like, the only reason you would say that is because you think dying alone is a workable format. Like dying alone, is this glamorous thing, this noble thing, that because in your mind, you haven't computed for what life could be like at 80. You haven't computed for what life could be like at 80 with arthritis. You haven't computed for what life at 90 may be like when you have nobody to wipe your bottom that you trust and love. You haven't computed for bed sores. You haven't computed for immobility. You just haven't done the mathematics, because you think you're going to be as pretty as you are forever. I don't want to get us into a state of desperation and accepting stupidness. But I want us to come to a place called balance, because a lot of us are delusional about what we really actually have on the table. What we actually have as an offering on the table is the man that wants to honor you, marry you, and be with you. And he might be shorter than you would like him to be. He might be tubbier than you would like him to be. He might be broker than you would like him to be. And when I say broke, I'm not talking about a broke man, but I'm saying maybe you want a man with 6 figures. He might not be that guy. And right now, you would rather die alone before you... The amount of conversations I have with women, and they say stuff like that. I think I would have been you if I hadn't worked in end-of-life care. I would have been you if I hadn't had hundreds of conversations with people that thought old age wouldn't come. That did not nurture and cherish not only their loving relationships, but their families. And it is always the child that was neglected that is on the bedside of the parent. It is always the one that was loved the least that shows up the most. It is always the relationships we did not cherish that somehow we start to need them. And when we start to need them, we have to humble ourselves the way we were not prepared to humble ourselves before, because there's nothing like a child that adores you on your bedside. Because I saw that too. I saw children devoted who loved their parents. I saw children that came in every day to make sure mom was okay, dad was okay. They loved their parents. I saw husbands coming in every day to sit with their wives for the whole day. And the wife can't talk anymore. She can't do anything, but he would sit there and read his book and read her book because he loves her. And maybe he wasn't the tallest guy in the room, and maybe he wasn't the richest guy in the room. Maybe he wasn't even the one who had the most, my son would say, riz, right? I'm a bit old for this kind of language. He didn't have that je ne sais quoi. And I'm sure it wasn't a joyride from beginning to end. But dying alone, I want you to get that out of your head. Die alone if it is your destiny to die alone. Die alone if you can understand that the way that I'm called, the way that I'm moving in my purpose does not involve a man, then die alone. Dying alone is not something that I want you to be so afraid of, but I don't want you to glamorize it. I don't want you to sit here and say, you know what, I'll drown that before. Choose a good man, because that's your real option. A good man. There are good men out here, but we don't think they are real options. You know who we think are real options? The six-pack guy in the DMs. The personal trainer in the gym who can't keep his eyes off you. The guy who stops his car on the street. We think those are our real options. They're not our real options. They are fake options. They're ego options. They're options for our ego. That make our ego feel good. But they're not real options. I want you to sit down, take a piece of paper and pen. I want you to write down the men that you've been in long-term relationships with. I want you to write down their characteristics. I want you to write down the way they looked, the kind of money they made. Those are your real options. Whether you think you can do better. I'm not talking about a narcissist being your real option, by the way, or an abusive person being your real option. This is not what we're discussing. I'm talking about their status, their financial status, their social status, their attraction level. That is the real option. That's your options right there. Now, if you think, okay, I've done some work on myself and I'm ready to, do more, then we can change your options, but you're gonna have to do a lot of work. So if you think, gosh, I'm always attracting broke guys who nobody wants, don't sit there being entertained by the attention of those guys. Grow until the man that comes into your life and wants to make a wife out of you, a girlfriend out of you, that's your option. That guy, what he earns. I know it's a bitter pill to swallow. I know. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings because I love you. I love you to bits and pieces. But love tells the truth, right? We tell each other the truth when we love each other. And that's the truth. The truth is, no matter what social media tells you, no matter how many men are liking and commenting under your pictures, how many of them and who of them is moving towards you with the intention of marriage, who of them sticks around long enough for the process, who is coming your way, that is your real option. And you cannot like it. That's okay. You can say, you know what, my options are crap, but I want you to be touched on with what they actually are. When I came to this realization as I was working with women, I had to sit down and write down my exes and be like, okay, Chengi, you get a lot of attention, but let's actually look at your real options. Who of the guys, 5 guys that you've been in long-term relationships with, how much do they earn? What was their fitness level? What was, and I got to say, other than one, they're all very good looking, all very wealthy. So I kind of know what my real options are. But they also had a certain kind of attitude, okay? But on a physical level, I know what my real options are. Know what your real options are so you can choose within that realm. Right? If the men that approach you are all earn between 40 and 50, and that's pretty much it, top is 50K, why are you waiting for a 6-figure guy? It's not going to happen. because they're not your real options. Are the ones that ultimately want to commit. Your real options are the ones that are here to commit, not the ones that are telling you you're beautiful, not the ones that are showing up in the middle of the night, not the ones that are stringing you along, not this guy that you're wasting your time with holding on for dear life. He's not your real option. If he's not committing, he's not your real option. If he is somebody else's guy, he's not a real option. If he is not committing, if he's emotionally unavailable, he's not your real options. Sit down and think about the men that were real options, that stayed and played and stayed, that committed, those are your real options. And like I said, if you don't like those, if you're like, I don't want those, I don't want the real options, then you have to level up. Thank you, beautiful enchantments. You have to level up as a woman, as a dater. You have to become a black swan. You have to really elevate yourself. Because until you do, you can only get your vibrational match. You will only attract what is at your vibrational frequency. Your vibrational frequency is determined by the way that you think and the things that you feel. They create your energy field. And that energy field has a vibration, and that vibration attracts your real options. And that's all I want to say. I feel like this year, my work is to really bring sobriety to all of us. Because if we don't sober up, myself, yourself, every one of us included. I was having a conversation with Coach Unique the other day, and we were giving each other some tough pills to swallow. You know, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we were really examining and thinking, bloody hell, this is a tough pill to swallow. You know, really dealing with the reality that I got a question. If they stay for more than a year, then you discover they're not committing. Are they an option? If they're not committing, they're not an option. Whether they stay for 5 years, 10 years, if they're not committing, they're not a real option. And let's talk about, I'm probably going to say this wrong, Joa. Please tell me how to pronounce it. I'm so sorry, but hi, baby girl. Thank you, Siobhan. She says, I'm a beautiful soul. That is the best compliment ever. Thank you. You know, we have to swallow the bitter pills because Noah, you pronounce it like Noah. But it's got a J, so is the J pronounced with an N? Everybody else is probably getting annoyed with me. Sorry. I've got a brain that does that, unfortunately. It like runs everywhere. We have to really, you know, I was talking to a friend and he said, you know, you should have Guinness. And I was like, ew, it's disgusting. I said, Joa. Yay. Joa. I hate messing up people's names because everybody messes up mine all the time. Not everybody, but most people. So, you know, I said to him, no, I'm not having Guinness because apparently it's really high in iron and I kind of need to up my levels of iron. So I'm like, I'm not drinking that. And he says, why? I was like, because it's disgusting. And he says, there's nothing that will cure you. He was a nutritionist. He's a nutritionist. And he said, Chengi, the truth is, everything that will cure you does not taste nice. Anything that will be good for you does not taste nice. And I took that as a lesson. And I thought, yeah, you know, if it doesn't feel good to you to hear what I'm saying, it's probably going to do you good. It's probably going to be your saving grace. It's probably going to be the ticket to a decision that you need to make, and stop letting this man who's hankering after you with pure intentions, just leaving him there because you think you got better. Maybe this is going to be the medicine that will say, look, I have a crush on that guy. I desire that guy so much, and he flirts with me, and I'm hoping that he's going to change and he's going to choose me. Maybe it's time to let that mess go. You know, maybe it's time to stop hankering after that guy who's not able to give you what you need, and actually be more open to dating and seeing men who are showing up in a way where they are showing up as gentlemen, who are willing to honor you and respect you, and really train yourself to open your heart. Because often the reason we're not falling for these guys is because our hearts are closed, because we are bemused and distracted by the guys in the DMs, the guys out here on these streets, the guys that, whoo, baby, look at you, whoo, your legs, the guys in the comments, the guys in our lives. We're just surrounded by too much attention that we're not touched down with reality. Because 99.9% of those guys will hit it and quit it, will mess with you, extract from you, take from you, waste your time. When there's a man in your life who's ready to show up, maybe he's not as cute as the one you're hoping on. Maybe he's not the color, the race that you hoped to meet. Maybe he's not your type. Maybe he's not. And what I found in my experience is, if you open your heart, if you open your heart to someone, if you open your heart, your body gonna open up too. You know? Your body takes its instructions from your heart. If you open your mind, your heart will open. That's why we have these conversations, to open our minds a little bit so that our hearts can open. And when our hearts open, our bodies respond. This is why sometimes you will see a couple that don't seem to make sense to the eye. I posted something about punching for an article I was featured in the Daily Express. And we're talking about punching and punching above the weight. And sometimes you see a couple and you think, she's punching or he's punching. And we'll talk about that on the live with the coaches as well, because I know some of you really wanted to discuss that a little bit more. You know, we're looking at it and we're thinking, who's punching? No. Somebody came to their senses in that situation. Somebody decided, you know what, let me just give this guy a chance. I'm speaking to your situation right now. Oh. I thank God for true healing. We will never experience the promised land, still craving Egypt appetite, and that's hard truth. I had to learn, but we thank God we can do hard things. Amen. Love it. Get on the Black Swan app. I think one of the coaches are available. I don't know who's available, but there'll be somebody available on the app. But have a conversation, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, if you need support. Just why I created the app in the first place. Or just book a call. But I know when I came on here that this was for somebody, don't know who it was, but I always know this message is for someone. I feel so strongly in my spirit and just observing the marketplace that there will be a lot of marriages this year, but there's just got to be a bit of a tweak and an adjustment in some of the way that we're thinking and moving. We need to give the good guys a chance. It's time to give the good ones a chance, not the nice guys. We don't do nice guys because they don't know who they are. I'm talking about good guys. It's time for us to stop. Beautiful enhancement. This message is for me. Yay, I got 2. Yay. It's time to really, and I'm not talking about half a chance, The same way you would show up for that hottie that you've been pining over, the same way you would show up for that dream guy in your head, show up for that guy. Put on that outfit for that guy. Show up intentionally. Show up with a real desire to get to know him, to make him feel comfortable, to be a good date. Show up for him, because honestly, ladies, some of us are needlessly single. Do you understand? Some of us are genuinely single because we're messed up on levels. Like, we need to work on our trauma. We need to do some real work on ourselves. But some of us are needlessly single. We're just caught up in the attention culture. We've just drunk the Kool-Aid. We've just got drunk on the Kool-Aid. And so we're needlessly single, because there is that guy who's looking for a wife, who's looking for a girlfriend, who's looking to build something with someone, create something with someone, who's financially ready, emotionally available. But we just keep flicking him off because we are delusional about our real options. Some of us are not willing to try with a good man because we just think we can replace him. You know, we're just not prepared to go through the winter seasons with him. We're not prepared to go through the difficult seasons of relationships with him because, I can replace you. Why should I be dealing with this? Sometimes we've got to weather some storms with a good man because he's our real option. You know what I mean? Ooh, Swan Queen, you're speaking gold. Hi, Lady J10. I have a man who is there when the chips are down. I almost messed it up by trying to make him into a smooth talker. Thank God for slapping sense into me. Good. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that this is for somebody. So important. And I'm hammering this down. I was talking to my PR company yesterday, and they were talking about, Chengi, what are some of the things that you want to take to press and communicate to the world? What are some of the things that are on your heart right now? And I mentioned this because I want to see rings all over my Instagram. I want to be that girl. I want every second post to be, Mama Swan, looky here. I get them in my DMs, but some of them don't like me to post them. It's not nice. But I want to celebrate with you this year. I want to be flying all over the world to your weddings. And you were just a mindset shift away from, because there's somebody in situ that you're just taking for granted, that you were treating some kind of way, that you're not giving a real chance to. You're playing with him. Because you've got delusional about what's real. That guy who adores you, that adores you. And for some of us, they're thinking, I don't have anybody that adores me. Yes, you do. Your reticular activating system has literally cancelled them out, because your reticular activating system is built on your belief system. It's built on what you believe. So it only sees what you believe. Right? We have to understand that we have systems in place and automatic processes that happen when you have a belief about something. It creates a series of ways of thinking, thoughts, neurological pathways that then inform your senses as to what you will see. I always give this example about the reticular activating system. I could have a pen that is right in front of me. It's right in front of me. And I'm looking for it. Have you seen my pen? Have you seen my pen? I can't seem to find my pen. My pen is lost. It's just so lost. And then we've all had this. And then somebody goes, isn't that your pen? Right there. Where? Right there in front of you. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's been here all along? Yes, it's been here all along, but your belief system, you believe it's lost. So your thought is it's lost. So your eye is literally blind to it. Because if your eyes were to focus on everything it sees, you would have information overload, because we see more than we can even begin to think of seeing. So our senses have to filter what's important to us. And so you will smell what is important for your survival in that environment at the time. You will smell, you will taste, your senses have to be augmented for the minute. Otherwise, you will have information overload. We're picking things up on a sensory level, spiritual level. We're gathering so much data on a second to second basis that if our brains were not to filter it out, we would lose our damn minds. So some of us might be hearing this and doing, I don't think I have that guy. You just can't see him because you're caught up on the lies, you're caught up on the attention. You know, you're desperate for it. You've become hooked on it. This is the addiction of the 21st century. This is the addiction of the modern woman, especially, and the man, but more the woman. We've become addicted to it. So, you know, we get the dopamine highs and the we're with the dopamine and the adrenaline and the cocktail of euphoria, right? In our hormones when we get attention, and we're confusing that attention for attraction. How do you gauge your options when they never stay? When we're talking about your options, really, we're talking about the physical realities, like how much do they earn? What is usually their status? Are they usually divorced guys? Are they usually guys have never been married? Talking about those external things that sadly we use to judge men. Those are your options. It's not about, you know, if they never stay, well, we'd be married if they stayed. But the point I'm making is, look at their demographic. Look at how much they earn. Look at where they're coming from. Are they divorced men? Are they older men? Are they younger men? Are they, you know, whatever. Look at them, list all of them, create a pattern so you know, oh, usually it's men who are divorced or right out of the divorce. You will see a pattern. You will always see a pattern. Patterns are the truth. If you look at all your exes, there will be a pattern. Certainly in terms emotionally, mentally, spiritually, yes, but you will need a professional to co-regulate with and to work through with that, which you can do. You know, you can always call us to help you. But there's always a pattern. There's always a certain age. There's always a certain demographic. There's always a certain thing. Look at those and see. Those are your real options. And you can, when that guy comes and he's more, and like I said, if you don't like those options, do the work. Do more work. I was talking to somebody the other day. I wasn't myself. I don't know who I was talking to, but, you know, I think it must have been my PT. And, you know, I've been sort of working with him, doing a lot of weightlifting for probably like 8 months. And I can feel that I'm getting toned, but I'm, you know, I want to be ripped, you know. It's just a person. I don't need to be, but I definitely want to be ripped. And I've given myself 5 years to get there, so I'm in no hurry. And, you know, I was like, when am I going to start seeing the ripping, you know? And, you know, he was talking about his other client who got ripped real quick. And I realized, well, her body, the way she's set up, she's slim, I'm Miss Curvy. You know, timelines are different, but we can't check how long do I need to work on myself until I'm ready. You work on yourself as long as you need to work on yourself until you get what you want. Oh, I've been in therapy. Well, go for more therapy. Get a coach. Keep going. Keep lifting weight. Keep showing up. I show up to the gym in the snow, in the sleet, in the rain. I show up in every kind of temperature because I'm committed. I'm not going to say, oh, how long do I need to be going to the gym before I see the results? How long should I, you know, I'm getting fed up. I need to see. No, you keep showing up for you, your growth, until you start to change your demographic. If you're like, I don't want this kind of man in my life, it means you need to change. Your energy needs to change. Your way of thinking needs to change. You need to level up. So if you're looking at it and really looking at your exes, the ones that have actually committed, whether it's been 6 months, a year, or 2 years, or 5 years, and you can see that there's a certain kind of guy, right? That's your options. Those are your real options. Anything else is not your real options, right? And women before our time understood this. They didn't have the addiction to attention, so they understood this. Our mothers understood this, that Johnny from across the road who wants to take me to ice cream today, he's my real option. And maybe there's Johnny and maybe there's Simon, because, well, travel wasn't what it used to be. Not everybody had a car. Nobody had a cell phone. So you dated the ones in your neighborhood. And if Johnny and Simon were the ones, our mothers considered these men as real options. Real options. Like, these are my options. I'll date both. I'll date one. And, hopefully he won't bugger off. We are in a whole different age where we're being almost hypnotized and almost, we're being like razzle dazzled. Women, I've had coaching clients, who are like, I won't accept that. And I'm thinking, girl, I'm not saying you should, but the level of entitlement you have, you would think you got 10 other guys of his caliber waiting. But I know that if they knew that they're not the ones that are in their DMs and the one in front of them, the one in the DMs is not a real option. This is a real option. So perhaps we need to work through this issue with this guy and not just be like, no, man, I'm not taking that. I refuse to accept it. And I just feel like, what? Girl, this guy in front of you who's ready to put a ring on it, that's your real option. So let's work through this. And I'm not talking about anything that I would not recommend, but just little ways of being entitled that end up with the girl being dumped. Because no man of any worth really wants to be chasing you for life or feeling like, unless he is operating at 100% all the time, that he's perfect. It's mindset. It's all about mindset. The one that is coming, the one that is paying for dates, the one that is investing, the one that is showing up, the one that is behaving like a gentleman, he's your real option. Not the one that calls you when he's ready, shows up when he's ready, is inconsistent, hot and cold, on and off, got games playing, got this going on, always in your DMs but never on your phone, Snapchats you but doesn't call you, always, your whole relationship is social media. He's never picked up your... Look, this is not a real option. You're wasting your life. You're wasting your time. We need to really touch down and examine our true options. If we don't like them, level up and get better options. But we can't get caught up in this. It's like this lull. It's like the Pied Piper. It's like this, I don't know how many of you saw Wakanda, the second Wakanda, and the tribe that came from the water. They would sort of sing and people would throw themselves overboard. I'm not sure how many of you have seen it, and I don't want to spoil it for those of you who have. But it's almost like we're in this trance-like state where we hear the sound, we're addicted to attention, and we go in this trance and we hemorrhage relationships and we entertain foolishness and we cling on and we, discard of good men like they're a bus and another one will be coming. All of these things that we do from the mindset that we have more options than we actually have. That we actually have more real options than we actually have. And I want you to know that real options are not about the amount. It's not about, I've got 10 real options, 10 guys want to marry me. It's about the quality of them as well. Are they showing up for you? Are they, do these men give you rest? We hear a lot of men going, I want peace. Peace for a man comes from a rested woman. Women want rest. Feminine energy needs to rest. Feminine energy must remain rested for it to create an atmosphere, an environment of peace for a man. Does this man give you rest? Are you rested? If this guy gives you rest and you can be yourself and you don't have to pretend and you don't have to work like a dog and do all these things, give him a real chance. So that's me. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go and be in Chengi's world and and have another conversation with the ladies in there. Today's my filming day. But any questions before I go, my darlings? Feel free to ask them. And then I'm out of here. How long have I been on this call even? I think I miss you guys. I'm always here longer than I think I will be. Great. Well, I don't see anything. I might. Whoopie-doos. I'm definitely getting married this year. I believe that with my whole heart, Chengi. I'm inviting you. Yes, Joa. You heard it here first. Joa said that she's inviting me to her wedding. So exciting. So I am so happy. If you have, you're welcome, Gaz Josie. I hope I said that correctly. You girls and your Instagram names. Okay, so I'm going to say goodbye. And obviously, download the Black Swan app. Because we will be in there almost daily. Supporting you. How do you get over a man who love bombed you? You got right in there before I said my goodbye, powerful masterpiece. You're such a clever girl. Thank you for the education. You're welcome, Queen Virgo Queen. Okay, so here's the thing about love bombing. So here's the thing. I was actually talking to one of my colleagues, and we were like, love bomb the hell out of me because I need to be love bombed. Okay. I think we have so many terms and so many things we use in the relationship space that sometimes we lose meaning. Love bombing is what gentlemen used to do when they wanted the attention of a woman. And when I say love bombing, I mean a man would state his intentions very early. He would show up with gifts very early. He would plan exciting adventures very early. He would put effort, front load his effort very early, very quickly. The reason narcissists use love bombing is because it's a legitimate way of courting a woman, because we respond emotionally when we are given to it. Our feminine loves to receive attention, time, things, all of these things. So the older guy, the gentleman, even if you look through scripture, before he'd find the wife and bring gifts and flood her with gifts and just overwhelm her with gifts. If you look at Rebecca and Isaac, she's got gold bangles, gold jewels. She got cattle. Men, even my father, when he was courting my mother, would give her loads of money and gifts and love bombing. Even when I was dating, when I was, a little bit younger, I think I started dating when I was 18. The men would just bring you flowers and gifts and chocolate and just whatever you want, whatever you need. It was standard way of dating. But when women lowered their standard for what they required men to be and do for them, getting no real attention and no real romance and no real whatever became normal. Like we just sacrificed these things. And then when men are actually showing up like old school guys, we sometimes say it's love bombing when it's not love bombing. I'm not saying that narcissists don't love bomb. I'm not saying that people with wrong intentions don't love bomb, but they're copying a legitimate pattern. It's legitimate for a man to pour his love on you. It's legitimate for a man to want to spend time and attention and call you. When a man is actually into you, he moves that way. So the predators copy the original, right? So, people don't, forge notes that don't exist. They forge notes that actually exist. So we are wired to be responsive to a man's giving. We're wired to be responsive to a man's generosity. We're wired to be turned on, even physically, by the way a man treats us and gives to us. A man that wants to get a woman to want him, and this is what our fathers knew, this is what the ancients knew, this is what older men knew. So they weren't out here trying to kill themselves in the gym, trying to get a six-pack. These men were about getting that stuff because they knew they could pour it on us. I remember my teenage boyfriend, I think I was 18, yeah, and he was 25, because I've always been into that older guy, all up until I got to my 40s, and then all the younger guys want me. He, and I was always a mature kind of 18-year-old, but he was 25 at the time. And I remember I kind of came out of high school, before my A-levels. There was a lot going on in my life, and I came out, and I decided to go to college. And he was like, okay, babe, what are your college fees? Let me know what they are. And I was like, why? He's like, because I can pay them. He didn't think anything of it. Like, that's how men treated their girlfriends, standardly. It wasn't a thing. Like, how I got home, the clothes I wore, what I ate, my mom, my sisters, like, he wasn't a rich guy, but it's just standard issue at the time. Men just pour on you. He would give me spending money, take me wherever I wanted to go, entertain me every weekend, make sure I got there safe. And if I didn't get there safe, he'd pay for a cab. I mean, this wasn't even like, this was not love bombing. Like, this is what we're calling love bombing, right? He just felt responsible for me. Men just, to get a girl to love them or want them or stay with them, they literally took over the role of your dad. And this is not a long time ago. Like, I'm only 45, so I'm not talking like I'm 80. This is recently. And then we lowered our standards as women. That was particularly to do with feminism, because we can do for ourselves. We don't need no man. We're good. I can pay for myself. And we got into that whole girl power thing, and men were like, okay, they don't need us to do that. So now when a man shows up like that, we're out here calling him a love bomber. We're like, he'd be love bombing me. I'm not speaking to your love bomber. Maybe he was a love bomber, but we have to get over love bombers and non-love bombers the same way. We've got a process. That's how we heal. And if you're asking me how you process, that's why I created the Breakup Clinic. The Breakup Clinic is, I think it's got like 20 videos that will help you process a breakup and heal from it. So you can go and download that course and do it. That will be really helpful for you. But it's a process to unravel and untangle. Sometimes even men that don't love bomb us, they're hard to get out of our system, because they found a need, they met the need, and they stuck around, and we integrated them into we integrated these men into our systems, and they became necessary, right? So you're welcome, powerful masterpiece. We have to be careful about a lot of things that we do now, and a lot of things that we say now, because they discourage men from being romantic givers. Love bombing is only dangerous if you are a woman that hasn't mentally grown up. If you haven't matured, then you're going to get swept away by the love bomber. You have to follow protocols. A dating playbook is another course that you can do. If you follow the right protocols, I'm not saying that you're going to be, 100% safe, but if you follow the protocols, you will soon enough flesh out a predator of somebody who is not healthy or good for you, you know, while still being spoiled rotten and being given everything you want, you know. It's not about using men, it's allowing them to be masculine, to give, you know, to be in their masculine. A man must give and be generous in his giving. You know, these men that are stingy and, you know, talking about, you know, I mean, I despair. I literally despair with the feminization of men. You know, they're like out here. I think I heard somebody in the team, if any of the coaches are here, please remind me about that post that was in the group. I think talking about something dating. It's called something dating. I forget it. And I was like, really? Really? Somebody? Anybody? And basically it's these kind of cheap coffee dates that are 30 minutes. And I thought, this is how, and this is a dating coach who's talking about that kind of, and I'm thinking, really? Somebody talk to me. When did men descend to this level where give her 30 minutes, buy her a coffee and argue about the price? I'm like, I can't. And the thing is, what does me in is these should be these would have been shameful conversations. In fact, not 2 decades ago, men could have never come together and even, you could have been a man and even said, yeah, I'm going to take her for coffee and do 30 minutes. And if she's not the one, she can go. And other men would have been like, you're so smart. They would have been looking at you like, you crazy. What's wrong with you? Like, you're right. That's what would have happened. 2 decades later, men are out here doing videos. Please, somebody tell me what that thing was. I need to find my other phone. If there's a name for it, I was shocked that they've even got a name for it. Like, when did that become okay to treat a lady that way? Like, when did it become okay to have ladies on this conveyor belt system? And then she was upset with me because I didn't buy her dinner. Now, ladies, you shouldn't be upset when a man doesn't want to give you something. Upset is an overreaction. Assess and keep it moving. I would never get upset because a man does not want to take me out for dinner. If he doesn't want to take me out for dinner or make an actual investment, he just doesn't get my time or attention. It's really that simple. I mean, we don't have to get upset. You know, we don't have to be punitive. We just have to understand that this man is for someone else. You know, he's for someone else. It's okay. You know, not everybody can date a black swan and not everybody is entitled to a black swan. So if you're coming out here talking about, let's meet for 30 minutes, there's a name for it. And he was saying the mistake he made, as far as he was concerned, the mistake he made was not telling her that it was that kind of date. And I'm thinking, you're behind and not tell her it was that kind of date because you knew she wouldn't come. Because you know that feminine women are not interested in wasting their time with feminine men. We're just not. You know, so honestly, don't even get me started, right? So, you know, we are, you know, really dealing with a lot of low value men. So you got you a good high value man who wants to take you to dinner, who wants to pick you up, who wants to shower you with love. And you're out here thinking you've got options because the same guys that are doing conveyor belt dating, and really the truth is what they don't want to say is that they're broke. I can tell you 100% that any man that fluffs around, does only coffee dates, he is broke. Because he's broke. And you're only going to find that out when you've invested nonsense time. Don't get me wrong, nothing wrong with a coffee date. Don't get me wrong, because if you met somebody online, you don't know them, and you've just had it, I would accept a coffee date, but that's not something I'm going to accept. You know, that's a For me, personally, it's not a date. For me, Chengi. Okay? Not for everybody. But I still, for my black swans, say, look, go for a coffee date. If it's an after work thing and you're not going to have to get dressed, look pretty, do your hair. If all you're going to do is leave your office, maybe redo your lipstick and meet him for coffee, go do that. Okay? A real gentleman will probably offer dinner, especially if he's kept you out past dinner time. He's going to be like, would you like dinner? If you're great company, of course, unless you wouldn't be a black swan if you were not good company. So, we're going to leave that alone. But generally, if you're good company and you show up and you look pretty and you're graceful and a wonderful person to get to know, and you're able to make other people feel comfortable and all those black swan things that we do, most guys will be like, do you want something to eat? Would you like dinner? Often, coffees and drink dates, with gentlemen can evolve into something more. But, all of these kind of little things coming out on the dating market where we have conveyor belts sort of dating, and men want to just spend £3.45 or whatever the American equivalent or whatever your country equivalent is. These are men who don't know who they are. They don't know what they want. They don't know where they're going. Don't date them. Oh God, I think my coach is buggered off, and I have if I come out of this app, but there is a name for it, and I'll stick it in the stories. But these men don't know who they are, because even if you're not rich, even if you have a budget and you are a man who knows who you are, knows where you're going, knows what you're about, you're not going to waste your time with randoms. You're not just going to be taking 10 girls out to coffee, to choose one. You're going to be a man that knows. You're going to be intuitive. Men have high intuition. You're going to be intuitive. You're going to make sure you have a phone call. You drill down to your core needs as a man. You choose, you select this woman. You take her out. You show her a good time. You act like a gentleman. This is real men. Okay, you don't have to be rich. You just have to know who you are as a man. I just can't deal with this. Oh, I just have to try this. You want multiple experiences. You're not looking for anything real. So let's not waste each other's time. I personally don't get any of that nonsense coming through my door. Every guy that wants to date me wants to take me out to dinner. I think I've been on one tea date, one coffee date, maybe two in all of my time. Every guy I deal with is like, I'd love to take you out to dinner. And I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. So I don't, that's just my vibration. I hope that you can elevate to that point. But what? It's a no from me. Even if you were to ask it, I'd be like, thank you, but I'm not available. I'm sorry. But I wish you all the best. I'm not even going to entertain it. I'm not doing it. I can't, because you're either wounded or you're broke or you're just feminine, and none of those three am I prepared to work with. You know what I'm saying? So put your best foot forward or don't come at all. You've got to, every one of us has to have their own standards. Mine happen to be those, but you can set your own standards as well. They don't have to be mine, because we're not all in the same situation. I've been married. I've worn the dress. I got the baby. I got the child. My finances are good. I kind of can afford to have those kind of standards. I think we all can, but I'm just saying, keep it real. See your life. See what works for you. Don't, one woman's standards is not another woman's standards, but when you do have a standard, stick to it, And that's all I'm going to say. Thank you for your questions. And I bid you farewell. Bye, darlings. I'll see you again on my next live.